went to a monarchy called Bophuthatswana. People think it was a homeland. It was not a homeland. It was a monarchy because it was led by a monarch. Kgosi, His Majesty Kgosi Manyane Mangope. For 17 years, he created a development that is unparalleled to date. To date, Nziki. No one, whether it's Muammar Gaddafi, whether it is Nkwame Nkrumah, no one can match what this man did in 17 years. With pieces of land, with no oil, with no gold, with no diamond, what he achieved. The first thing that he did was to work on the identity of his people. You know what was the ID document called in Bophuthatswana? Ikitsi. Know yourself first. That's what it was called. So he prepared a Motswana who was 17 years ahead of us in 1994. The things they were doing, you know, he took the whole of what Israel is and basically did a replica in Bophuthatswana. I mean, Nsiki, do you know that that airport in Mahikeng has the second longest runway in the whole continent, the 6th longest in the world, right? The only airport in Africa that has an ALS. You know what an ALS is? Automatic landing system. So when the plane comes into its airspace, the equipment lands the plane, not the pilot. Its navigational infrastructure conflates in the whole of Southern Africa, right? And you call that a Bantustan leader? You call that a dictator? He defied apartheid.
Chief Mangope, are you satisfied with the allocation of land under the policy of separate development generally, and to the Tswana people in particular?
I'm not in a position to speak about other homelands. I can only speak in respect of my homeland, Bophuthatswana. And to that question, I want to say I'm not satisfied with the amount of land we have.
It has been said that tribal differences, especially in the case of the Tswana, make it desirable that different tribes should be kept apart in different homelands. Is that true?
You speak of tribal differences. I don't know if you understand the difference between tribal and national. We regard ourselves as a Tswana nation and not a tribe. We have always had, we are a nation, let me start that way, and we have always had our own homeland, and I don't think it is possible, it is pragmatic to become just one thing with the other people. We are always going to...
Yeah. If you favor present policies, which you do, if you're opposed to the present policy, you're ready to make a common front. What do you do?
I don't know what is meant by a common front. I'm prepared to work with people of different nationalities on matters of common interest. For instance, when it comes to trade, for instance, I'm prepared to cooperate with them and to cooperate wherever I feel the need to solve common problems in the interests of South Africa generally.
We have got the strength, we've got the power. There is but nothing. I want to say, says plus Yama, go South Africa. How Bophuthatswana, Asasia. Rididimetse, Resa Chenye Motope, Resa Rumalane, Resa Bui, Resa Palame Mohodi Mohamato Raipolela. Bato, Batlo Releza, Bato, Batilo Rebatla. Renale Tata, Fela Haraka Charahana. Anke Kiwane Moholo Naba.
Bahaejo, Irile Kilo Raya Kiresilo, ANC, Ikopano Hela, Yametlapa, Mahodu, Kichwaka, Matimoni, Lebohanka Boretha, Lonkutrella Hosele. Kene ki bua ke le morwamanyane ke ikutwa ke re go lofa go nkga le khotlo bo here hela le go ka setweng go sepe ka tsona lona ba gaetsho ka le masilo lo antika le bona lo ntse lo re phantsi matsutsu ba phantsi namanyana phantsi mangope go le monate le nja ditshego gompieno modimo ke sa o direleng sepe yo o ba senotse kwana hela jaaka ba dira ba utswa madi a dithendara ba jelana basadi le banna ba ja basadi ba ba lwalang go sa dirisiwe mesomelwana o itekanetse mo tlhogong ga go kgathalwe go jwa hela ba los mo matekeng se kae squeia ba kae bo maharachi le bo pickbota ba ntlontlolla ba ntsela puso ke libile tswa mo diatleng re wetse ke le ba gaetso banna ba robala le go nyala banna go janwa matanyola le basadi hela yalo go le shwe hela mo hatsing la rona mpuru haretswe thuso re tla bona ka ga ise koma godimo le gompieno nna gato nna manyane ke amogela gore le China ke kgaitsedi yake ke ra boitlhotsesane ruri ka manyane a ntsetse nna le Machana re kopana ha kae re tseneletswe ke nakedi mo ntlong ba gaetso ba ntshana mo ditilong e ka re ba hetola ditjoki ke nya bese ya manka le mufu motho wa teng wa nna tsamaya serala hela e re o hiteditse gore o tla tweng o tlo motho a thube hela sa tsesepe a re motšhini wa me mo gaetso ka re kopane hela e ntse go twe motšhini wa me ke dilo mang tsona dilo tseo jaanong ba re ba thubega ka legare ga ba thubi ke sepe hela kwa ntle go rata madi le basadi ba
Batswana bo Mangope, because they kept on saying, if monga mamelo Mangope kept on saying mapantita tlo le sotla batho ba monna o robala le monna o mongwe o robala le mosadi o mongwe wa diwa fela tjena sa tsa Mangope ya hlaya sibone noda iding yabo sibona noda iding ngabo labantu laba ukuthi mfethu bashaya konke kwa out mfethu pens down
noma kunembobo kuyangena
mfethu kulabantu bashaya pens down ukuthi mfethu awungeni you can't pass China
never mind
mina I know people Ihlaba ngeke ngibiza amagama abantu yabo babam kunomunye umntana udayiding kunjubani umabi ko post email yakhe njengoba bamsusile as a speaker kunomunye uthikini wathi how wena what about uspanbana ngithi you also gay I'm not saying there's something wrong ukuba gay labantu bayadabulana brawami
shoot ama politician ashaya
abantu bayashayana brawami nabo ma Bloemfontein bayakhala labantu ukuthi mfethu i-out basishaya ngeduzu mfethu awungena ungathola itenda yi labantu mfethu lento lezo usibona kuma secret society bathi zayenziwa lapha yako Illuminati bayazenza labantu
hayi wena
namasiko wabo yebrawami kunabantu mina mfethu yebrawami mama vibes uzosibona lezi zinto lezi mina mfethu kunenye imedia monte ke yangitshela kuna yayisifana ngada eBramfontein yabo yathi guess who I saw yathi ngibona umntwana mangithi umntwana uzo understand yabo
angukuthola
it's I saw an IFP leader akubambe i-out so baphuma kule
The South African government took over control of Bophuthatswana. What's your reaction on that?
They didn't take over control. They looted control. There was a lot of criminal looting in Mabat. And the South African government looted political power.
Doctor, in short, your reaction, your feelings on what has happened, the events of the past week and your position right now?
Well, I think it occurs frighteningly for the future. The future is bleak with the type of communistic political activity that I've seen. I think we have reason to be terribly concerned for the future. Because we want to expose the African National Congress, the Communist Party, the South African, the Nationalist Party government for what they are. You know, Mr. Pickwater came accompanied by Mr. Maharaj, who apparently came to ensure that Mr. Botha carried out his instructions, Mr. Maharaj's instructions.
Can I ask you, sorry, the last question please from my side. The South African government, the National Party government, gave independence to Bophuthatswana many years ago. Now the same National Party comes and say to you, fine, you are dismissed as president and you are not independent anymore.
If that is not a diamond bright example of dishonesty, then I don't know what is. Freedom and independence once given can never be taken back. I am not done with. I want to assure you that. I want to expose for the good of South Africa, for the good of South Africa. I want to expose the African National Congress, the Communist Party, and the South African government for what they are. For much too long, ever since the beginning of the negotiations, we have had secret deals between the Nationalist Party government and the Communist Party, the African National Congress. As a result of that, as a result of such secret deals, such as is evidenced by the record of understanding, we have this flawed constitution. And I want to tell the South African public, you know, each time they have come to me, it has always been at night. Even Mr. Bigwater and Mr. Maharaj got to my house at night. I don't know what the reason is for that.
Former Bophuthatswana homeland leader Kgosi Lucas Mangope has been laid to rest at his home in Motswedi village near Zeerust in the northwest. He was lauded for his impeccable leadership qualities both as president and traditional leader of the Bahurutse Manyane. A host of dignitaries attended the funeral. Kgosi Mangope died last Thursday, aged 94.
A visionary leader who led by example, passionate about education, a family man who was also a supportive and considerate friend. These are just some of the qualities Kgosi Mangope will be remembered for.
When I see the people coming from all walks of life, different political parties, different backgrounds, black and white, here at his funeral, it does suggest that increasingly South Africans see themselves not as opponents per se, but see themselves as South Africans who, when tragedy befalls, they come together to comfort one another.
We must, as a nation, come together. We must, as a nation, irrespective of whether we are black, white, Indian, colored, come together to resolve the problems of our past, to build a better South Africa that will be able to create jobs, to deal with inequality, to deal with unemployment.
Kgosi Mangope was both a political and traditional leader.
The Northwest, I think today, comparatively, is at an advantage when it comes to rural development, because there was a pioneer who drove, rural development. Albeit it was not sufficient because you can't do everything at once. So whatever he did, I think we were quite happy.
I'm here to pay my respects to Kgosi Manyane Mangope, who has been a leader of great measure. Like him, hate him, he has made a tremendous contribution in the particular part of our country where he comes from, and I think he deserves our recognition and respect.
It's a bittersweet moment as some mourn while others celebrate a life that has come full circle. And for the people of Lehuruthi, it will take some time to accept that the sun has set on the life of their beloved Kgosi. SABC News, Motswedi.
I posted a story about the biography of Kgosi Lucas Manyane Mangope, and I received mixed reactions. Those that are truthful agreed with me that he was a visionary, he was a great leader. Many people do not know this, that Kgosi Manyane Mangope was a member of the ANC Youth League. Kgosi Manyane Mangope's dad was part of the founding fathers of the African National Congress. Many people don't know this, that he was taught maths and science at St. Peter's in Rosentonville by O.R. Tambo. And some of his classmates includes Robert Mugabe, the late, may his soul rest in peace, Kgosi Kachabutelezi, also very importantly includes Governor Mbeki, Thabo Mbeki's dad. So he was not an ordinary Kgosi. And as I said in the article, he defied apartheid. I was arrested 3 times. At the time I was working at the SACC. Joe Seremani had given me a lifeline when I was released from prison. And in the 3 meetings I had with Kgosi Manyane Mangope, there's one meeting I will not forget, where he says, Monanda beni, umudu mohela, o tsamao, o tlhaka-tlhakanya Bophuthatswana. Yano monna ke go itsise gore nna ke batla go bereka le wena. But, and this is the advice he gave me, there are 3 things you must do, my son, and I'll never forget that. In everything you do, there must be order. Second, in everything you do, there must be dignity. People must appreciate what you present before them. Do not coerce them. They must voluntarily agree with what you're doing. The third thing he said, there must be structure and content in everything you do. Here I am today, I'm a better person because of the advice I got from Kgosi Mangope. I think for me, the worst thing that ever happened, and I regret this until to my death, is I did not go to his funeral. But I had a good engagement with Kgosi Kwena Mangope. And he told me that at his funeral, he demanded 2 things: that there must be no obituary, and secondly, that he must be buried in a very, very basic coffin. And those 2 things were obliged by his family. Now, others who don't even know what happened, because I was deployed there in 1988, they call me and they say to me, I'm nostalgic, I am very insensitive to the brutality that happened in Bophuthatswana. No, I'm not. I was there. I saw it. But every time I wrote back my reports to the leadership of the South African Council of Churches, I would say, yes, there's violation of human rights. Yes, we are in a war. Yes, there is conflict. But you know what I don't understand is the economic model at the time. I've just posted now one of the most iconic accommodation establishments that housed all the best iconic journalists we have, Bob Flats, is being auctioned. Isn't it sad that this is where Shadow Twala stayed? This is where the late Bob Mabena stayed. This is where all the best journalists that came through, Yotsepo Ikaneng and all of them, this is where they all stayed. Today, the building is being auctioned. But you know, for me, the worst thing that ever happened, and I will always say it, the truth is always surrounded by lies. And these lies on a 24-hour basis, they collude, they plot, they scheme to take down the truth. And guess what? Any moment they think that they are bringing or they've brought down the truth, they celebrate prematurely. But what they always forget is the power of the truth to resurrect. Kgosi Manyane Mangope told us, he knew that everything that he had achieved was going to be destroyed. And it happened. We must ask the first leadership of this province in 1994, what happened with the strategic assets of Bophuthatswana? We're the only province that had a low-cost carrier, Bob Air. What happened to it? We're the only province that had commercial television and radio stations. What happened? What happened with those assets? Bob Recording Studios. What happened? The stadium, the only floating stadium in the whole continent, the second capacity after FNB Stadium. What happened? The airport. The airport has the second longest runway in the whole continent. and the 6th longest in the world, 4.6 kilometers. Its airspace is the most sophisticated because it conflates both into Botswana and a Namibian airspace. This should be a training aviation hub. Do you know where SAA trains the so-called future generation of pilots? In Australia and Israel. Isn't it sad that you're sitting with a strategic asset in Mahikeng? What happened to the manpower centers? What happened to the industrial parks? What happened to Jura Build, where we were building the best buses ever in this continent? What happened to Town Irrigation Scheme? What happened to Lubak? What happened to ourselves? Mafikeng was the most integrated town. Arrived there on a charter bus that went through Budibe village, and it arrived at the then Mabatusan, the second oldest casino resort in the whole continent. What happened? Kgosi Manyane Mangope, dumela mongwana, ke tsamaya go go tlotla. I want, on behalf of 58 million South Africans this morning, to apologize to you. The greed, the hatred, the mediocrity, the idiocracy, the tribalistic, the racist, the xenophobic, situation we find ourselves in this country is indeed an indictment on a vision of a free Africa. I would like you this morning to tell Credo Motwa that the struggle is not over, that we shall rise as African people. Africa will be free, not in the too distant future. I want you to talk to Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, Tupac, Muhammad Ali. Tell them that Nkgopotse Tiro, Stephen Bantu Biko, Robert Sobukwe, tell them that the African Kijiji movement will be launched on the 25th of May, 2021. That we shall indeed, as the late Credo Mutwa said, Africa shall indeed be free. We will free the Democratic Republic of the Congo, and to be specific, the Bakongo province. We'll free Moruleng from the corruption and the fraud. We'll make sure that Moruleng becomes a city. We'll make sure that Luhurutsi, which is the birthplace of monarchy in Africa, the lost city, is rebuilt.
Your reaction, your feelings on what has happened, the events of the past week, and your position right now?
Well, I think it occurs fightingly for the future. The future is bleak with the type of communistic political activity that I've seen. I think we have reason to be terribly concerned for the future.
Is your party going to take part in the election?
Do you know, it is very interesting. When I told Mr. Pickwater and Mr. Maharaj, after they told me that I was deposed, that I would be taking part because I have political principles and convictions that I want to espouse, they said I would not be allowed. They have no right to stop me from taking part in politics.
Do you still have all your cabinet ministers in your government?
My cabinet ministers are 100% behind me. My Christian Democratic Party is still intact. We are doing everything we can. If we are allowed, we want to register and fight the elections because we want to expose the African National Congress, the Communist Party, the South African, the Nationalist Party government for what they are.
You know, Mr. Big Brother came accompanied by Mr. Maharaj, who apparently came to ensure that Mr. Botha carried out his instructions, Mr. Maharaj's instructions.
Can I ask you, sorry, the last question, please, from my side. The South African government, the National Party government, gave independence to Bophuthatswana many years ago. Now the same National Party comes and say to you, fine, you are dismissed as president and you are not independent anymore.
If that is not a diamond bright example of dishonesty, then I don't know what is. Freedom and independence once given can never be taken back.
Are you considering any steps to regain control of Bophuthatswana?
I am going to be about politically. I am not done with. I want to assure you that. I want to expose, for the good of South Africa, for the good of South Africa, I want to expose the African National Congress, the Communist Party, and the South African government for what they are. For much too long, ever since the beginning of the negotiations, we have had secret deals between the Nationalist Party government and the Communist Party, the African National Congress. As a result of that, as a result of such secret deals, such as is evidenced by the record of understanding, we have this flawed constitution. And I want to tell the South African public, you know, each time they have come to me, it has always been at night. Even Mr. Big Brother and Mr. Maharaj got to my house at night. I don't know what the reason.
I still respect my president. Lona ya nonsense ke motlhompha president. Una le botsa re puso ya NC tlolo sotla. Na ka makala ANC na le 28 years e busa or 29 years. Ha bana le tropo. One town wa bana le yona. University tsa Bophuthatswana sentse ba berekela modimo di university tsa Bophuthatswana. Tsa bona di kae mo Bophuthatswana? Di police station ha bana tsona. Ba berekela modimo tsa Bophuthatswana.
I find it fascinating you talk about in this article that you've written about how the University of Bophuthatswana was built. I always assumed as a young activist that it was built by the apartheid regime.
No, but Lucas Mangope went out to appealing to residents of Bophuthatswana, says you can give us as little as 10 rands each. That's how we raised the money to really build that university. That university was built by the citizens of Bophuthatswana donating as little as 10 rands.
Yeah, this is not a hero worshipping article. You're not
no, it is just to reflect. It is just to really show that let's do a comparison, and I think we must be fair and be objective.
Yeah, I know it is campaigning season, but when you write like this and you look back to that era of that kind of individual, many people will wonder why bring him as an example today.
Because then the current leadership is destroying the country. So why we expected to really keep quiet to saying they're doing a fantastic job. They say want us to celebrate 28 million South Africans who are dependent on the state. They want us to celebrate 80% of public schools in this country dysfunctional. They want us to celebrate 80 people being murdered in this country every day. They want us to celebrate every 11 minutes a woman being raped in this country. Is that the kind of South Africa that must be celebrated? Now, what we then have to do is now to reflect.
Yeah, are you not hacking after the past? I mean, some people have said, I've had this and I get horrified myself. They said, oh, but things were better under apartheid. They can be a little bit nostalgic about apartheid. Are you not in that trap as well of apartheid nostalgia?
I think then must I to celebrate what is happening right now? I'm ashamed, actually. I'm ashamed. And not that I'd celebrate apartheid. Apartheid was an evil system. It deprived me. When I started business in 1982, then I still had to really carry a passbook. I had to duck and dive. I became an expert in ducking and diving from the police because I decided I'm not going to let the National Party determine my destiny.
Well, truth be told, my father made a tremendous and impactful contributions in this province during the Bophuthatswana era. The infrastructure is evidence thereof. I think, unfortunately, most of the infrastructure that he established has dilapidated. It's not being used. Let me give you an example about the airports, the recording studio, and many other examples that I can give. But those are things that I am prepared to revive and to have them work for what they were built for. And I think that is what really our people need, because that would provide jobs and other good things, and tourism for that matter, in this province.
And then he refused. He said no, and many people from Botswana, overseas, authors and journalists, who did a story, he refused. And then came this Oupa Sekgalo. He was very young. How old were you? Yes, and he looked at him and he laughed. He said, but he gave him a hard time, I must say. But I believe the reason why he agreed is because of his youth. But also, I think he was a bit biased because Oupa is from Motswedi, but also the Sekgalo's family friends. And he gave Oupa a hard time, but I eventually said, I'll shut up. And then he was dilly-dally. So I don't even believe, even if he was healthy and not old, I doubt if he would have given you an interview. Why? Because, he had a split personality. Much as he was a public figure, he was an introvert. He was extremely introverted, and I don't think he could have wanted to talk about himself, because he was shy. He was more of a listener. The microphone. So he was more of a people. He loved watching people, listening to people. Microphone. So, but in terms of wanting to talk, I don't think Oupa, even if he was well, he would never agree to give an interview. And in terms of, I must congratulate Oupa because he struggled. I don't know if he told you that. Perhaps he won because he's humble. He wouldn't want to blow his own trumpet. But he actually financed the book from his own pocket. He was very, very determined, and that really is very inspiring for those who want to do a book project. He went out of his way, he went overseas and did that. However, because it's about my father, how do you expect me to be objective? Objectivity is a myth. There are things that he knows that I wasn't happy about. Why? Because I think you could just read from that book project, he's really a journalist. He wanted to be objective and to tell both sides of the story. However, I just feel that in terms of knowing him as a very private person, I was a bit angry with my brother Oupa, no man, that was too much. That was too much, in fact. Why did you really... I think my father was very private. You could have respected that. But being a journalist that he is, a professional one for that matter, a very successful one, I'm very proud of him. He did what he did, and he has encouraged a lot of people to come out and just write. So I don't know what more I can say, because I've congratulated him. He agreed for Oupa to write the book. He refused me to do a documentary about him. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
How are you? Still got your weapon?
We are confident that we will win.
How do you do?
Nice to have you.
Well, you are the son of the soil.
Good to look at.
I am very encouraged by this crowd, which reflects the type of South Africa we want to build. There are here colors, Indians, whites, and Africans. All of you are welcome. We are concerned about all our people to be here today. This afternoon, I will be